survey came right to the end of the 200 block of Oak and did not go to Fourth like it was addressed initially by the former manager of that department that was going to go to Fourth.
Is that North Fourth Street?
North Fourth, yeah. So obviously it's where I live. I'm representing a couple of neighbors who were a little surprised that there was that line drawn across the road at that point because beyond that it's collapsing. Every time a heavy truck goes by, there's a huge pothole right in front of my house. It just bam, it rattles the house. Um, Having been a president of an association with a $5 million budget, I know that you only have so much money, but sometimes you're penny wise, pound foolish. When the equipment is out there, you're really looking at a little bit more than bringing something out or repairing that on a regular basis. So I would just ask that if that could be revisited to go to Ford. As a matter of fact, it's such a thoroughfare that there's a speed sign, a digital speed sign that's been on on Oak for about 2 weeks. Yeah, and trying to get people to slow down. It's a little concerning that once it's paved and beautiful, it'll turn into a speedway, but we'd rather have it safe. The corner where I live is completely collapsed. All the heavy trucks that were working on the sewer project and paving Pine, they were using that route. So my yard has a pile of asphalt in it from that, as well as the collapsed turn. So there's not any way for me to keep that long going. But I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to respond to that slightly.
Go ahead.
With the damage being done by the trucks themselves and the repaving jobs, they should have been some liable for that repair of that road there. So they should be approached.
I would think so.
They should be.
Anyone else?
Yes, Loretta Brown.
Loretta Brown, 420 South Seminole Avenue. I know the young lady stated earlier about the planning and zoning meeting being not having enough people. I guess my question or concern is, whenever you guys get it together, as far as whatever you're going to send out, are we going to be properly notified of the meeting? Because a couple of us neighbors showed up and we want to make sure that we are notified so we can be present. Because we do have some issues that we would like to address. And also being in that planning meeting last night, that was my first time. I don't know anything about it. It was embarrassing because the board didn't show up, but it also was kind of embarrassing and a little unprofessional with the board talking about the board. I work for a corporate office. We would never do that. Some things need to be discussed behind closed doors and to why certain people didn't come. I don't know who is who. I stay in my house, but I'm just saying, like, I get what was said, and yes, it was, but certain things need to be discussed amongst the people that are on that board and not in front of the community, because it looks like it's more division, and that's not what we're trying to do. But I just want to make sure that we'll be notified, because we did receive a letter in the mail, so I don't know if we're going to receive another letter, or do we have to keep checking the website or calling the city. That's all we need to make sure.
Thank you.
Your concerns are noted, and I'll get your address and information up following the meeting.
Anyone else?
No, sir.
So we have a policy in place, and it's been in place for months. So at this time, if we don't have anybody else that signed in, we'll close public forum. And moving on to item F1, which is the proclamation. Can I have Reverend Juan F. Rivera come up? Good evening.
And Lord.
Thank you. Pick up that microphone. Pastor Linda, before you get started, I gave you the Hispanic version. If you could read that for me, please. And then I'll read the version in English once we get to that part. All right.
Proclama, septiembre, Día de la Biblia. Considerando que la Biblia ha sido reconocida durante siglos como la palabra de Dios, fuente de guía espiritual, valores morales y enseñanza ética para millones de personas, y considerando que el estudio, la lectura y la difusión de la Biblia fortalecen la base moral y espiritual de los individuos y de la comunidad, y considerando que es apropiado y necesario honrar públicamente la importancia de la Biblia en nuestra sociedad. Por lo tanto, yo, el alcalde Samuel Berrien, en virtud de la autoridad que me confiere mi cargo como de la ciudad de Fort Meade, proclamo que 1. La Biblia es reconocida como la palabra inspirada de Dios, digna de respeto, estudio y celebración pública. 2. El último sábado de septiembre de cada año será oficialmente reconocido como el Día de la Biblia en la ciudad de Fort Meade. 3. Se invita a todos los ciudadanos, escuelas, instituciones e iglesias a participar en actividades que celebren, estudien y promuevan la lectura de las Sagradas Escrituras. En testimonio de lo cual, pongo mi firme y sello de la ciudad de Fort Meade a las 9 del mes de septiembre 2025.
Proclamation, September Bible Day. Whereas the Bible has been recognized for centuries as the Word of God, a source of spiritual guidance, moral values, and ethical teachings for millions of people, and whereas the study, reading, and dissemination of the Bible strengthens the moral and spiritual foundation of individuals and the community, and whereas it is appropriate and necessary to publicly honor the importance of the Bible in our society, therefore, I, Samuel Berrien, by virtue of the authority vested in me by my office as mayor of the city of Fort Meade, do proclaim that, number one, the Bible is recognized as the inspired word of God, worthy of respect, study, and public celebration. 2, the last Saturday of September each year will be officially recognized as Bible Day in the city of Fort Meade. And number 3, all citizens, schools, institutions, and churches are invited to participate in activities that celebrate, study, and promote the reading of the Holy Scriptures. In witnesses whereof I affix my signature and seal of the city of Fort Meade on the 9th of the month of September 2025. Mayor Samuel Berrien. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you have any words?
Bien, Dios les bendiga.
God bless you all.
Bueno, quiero agradecer a cada uno de ustedes por esta sabia decisión.
I want to thank each and every one of you for this wise decision.
Dice la Biblia que bienaventurada la nación cuyo Dios es Jehová.
The word of God says, blessed is the nation whose Lord is God is their Lord.
Y esto pues es quiero retomar las palabras de un buen amigo mío cuando yo vine acá por Luis, del pastor Lorenzo McCutcheon, que dijo que es una oración contestada.
And I want to share the words of my friend Lorenzo McCutcheon. This is an answered prayer.
Una vez más le damos gracias a Dios primeramente y a ustedes en nombre de toda la comunidad hispana, de todas las iglesias hispanas en este lugar. Y siempre, siempre los tenemos en nuestras oraciones a todos y cada uno de ustedes para que Dios les dé sabiduría y sepan gobernar con justicia.
Amen. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of the churches collaborating on this. Thank you for just honoring this proclamation. And we just know that the Lord is going to do great things in this city through this effort. Amen. Yes. And we just wanted to ask you if it's okay if we share
a scripture,
Mhm.
before we close, if I can, in Proverbs, chapter 3, beginning in verse 3, it says, "Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them," the commandments, "about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Blessed is the word of God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Solamente quiero terminar diciendo de que esto ha sido una unidad entre la iglesia de Pastora Linda Oasis y la primera iglesia bautista de Fort Lee.
I just want to acknowledge that this is a collaboration between myself, Pastor Juan Rivera, and Pastor Carlos Granados at the First Baptist Church, and myself, Pastor Linda Rodriguez at Oasis Church.
Muchas gracias. Dios les bendiga.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. I did give you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. I need that back. We have to put the official seal on. Yes. Everybody? Just me?
I thought just you. Yeah, go ahead, you got it.
Excuse me. So this coming out.
Okay, so I'll give this back to you. Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. All right. At this time, we're going to move on to item F02, Main Street. Come on up.
People, oh shoot, I'm trying to run bottles.
Good evening, I'm Derek Hart, city resident for 40+ years and a new member of Main Street Fort Meade. With me tonight are some of our board members, Sam Berrien, Rachel Stinson, Vivian McLean, and Lance Holtz. We're happy to be here tonight to discuss the Main Street program of Fort Meade and our role in supporting this great community. Main Street is a national movement developed by the National Trust for Historic Preservation to assist with communities like ours to revive and preserve our rich heritage, culture, and character in our traditional downtowns. We believe that downtown areas should be the heart of every community, providing a place for all our citizens and visitors to gather, connect, and celebrate. Next slide. It's part of that's our board, part of our board. Next slide. So the core functions of Main Street, we believe that Main Street should provide a platform that reaches out to the entire community and lead an effort to bring our community together, strengthen our downtown area. Everyone should play a role in this effort, from residents to business owners, to city leadership, to civic groups and churches. It truly takes a community and teamwork to make this community thrive. National Main Street provides that framework for this endeavor and focuses on 4 key areas. 1, organization, building partnerships, strong leaderships for the community, providing revitalization programs that every merchant, public official, and community group can believe in and wants to assist with.
Yeah, slideshow. So here's the thing.
I literally could not Patsy, I'm so sorry.
And then on her computer doesn't mirror what we see on the screen, so it's like she's just pushing anywhere. Her screen still looks like this.
Understandable.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We got it.
Okay.
We got it.
Okay.
All right, talk about the four key functions. Organization, building partnerships, strong leadership for the communities, providing revitalization program that every merchant, public official, community group can believe in and wants to assist with. Design, improving the look of the downtown area, including storefronts, landscaping, signage, public spaces, window displays. Creating attractive and inviting aesthetic is vital to attracting new businesses and visitors into the city. Promotion, we want to reestablish the downtown as a destination, providing events, marketing, and community engagement opportunities that are essential for creating excitement that will attract shoppers, visitors, and investors. And economic vitality is the fourth point, finding ways to strengthen businesses, fill vacant storefronts, and supporting entrepreneurship that will assist in making a thriving downtown area. Over the past several years, Main Street has made strides in the community. We have the 4th of July celebration encouraging community involvement. Produced Merry Main Street, which brings hundreds down to the downtown area in December. Various marketing promotional support or promoting support of local shops, and supporting youth by providing back to school supplies. So support, to truly make an impact in this community, we require support from everyone. Strong lines of communication must be developed and resources used appropriately. Developing regular opportunities for business owners, consumers, civic groups, and government agencies to communicate and plan is essential for the success of our town. The city is an integral part of this. Items that are crucial to revitalization, like infrastructure improvements, permitting, public safety, and long-term planning, all rely on city involvement. The city's partnership means that we can align community efforts with municipal resources to ensure sustainable downtown areas. Lastly, what does it mean for Fort Meade to have the designation of Main Street Community? It opens up doors for grants, resources, and partnerships that will help us support our small businesses, celebrate our culture, and store pride in our historic downtown. With your backing, we can go further in leveraging our local assets to improve the quality of life and ensure downtown remains the heart of our community for years to come. We'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate you guys coming down. Wish you guys would come more. I appreciate that. I get the gist of Fort Meade Main Street, and I know the chamber is coming next, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is not this a duplication of services?
It is not.
Okay. So can you tell me the difference between what your organization does compared to our Chamber of
The
Commerce?
chamber is there to support.
Use a microphone, please. Thank you.
The chamber is there to support current businesses, while we're there to revitalize downtown and bring in new business. So we are wanting to.
So you bring the business in, and once they get here,
Main Street
Chamber supports them.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
So we can work hand in hand, and that way we can bring new businesses in, turn over the chamber, and the chamber can help make it successful in town.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any additional questions?
Well, I'll include this, that Main Street has a specific parameter. So whereas Chamber serves the entire city, Main Street focuses on the Main Street corridor, which is from City Hall down to Classics Pizza across the railroad track. And then halfway up the block on the side streets, it's at Seminole and French.
Okay.
So that's the area of our focus.
All right. Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Good.
I don't have any.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Gary.
Thank you. We will call up Fort Meade Chamber of Commerce.
Thank y'all for having us this evening.
Thank you for coming.
Russell Hancock, I'm the Chamber Director, lifelong resident of Fort Meade. And Just a little background of the Chamber of Commerce. We're actually celebrating our 100th year as it was founded in March of 1925.
Awesome.
It was founded in order to boost the growth of the city and bring the community together. That was actually in the letter of the original 1925 document of the Chamber I found. So the Chamber is organized to advance general welfare and prosperity of the city and also its citizens in the area of the business community. The necessary means of promotions shall be given to the economic, civic, commercial, cultural, industrial, and educational interests of the community. Today, as the director and the leadership of the board of directors, the Chamber continues to focus on every aspect of the community. Like most chambers, we work with new business owners for grand opening and ribbon cuttings. That's what I think of the chamber, that's what they're most known for. But we also continue to work with them once they're open in the existing businesses to promote them, promote business into Fort Meade. Through the events that we organize for the community, we're going to organize the Fort Meade Christmas Parade, we have an annual golf tournament, annual Den Books and Pearls, Moonlight and Music. We also are introducing a brand new event this year, it's happening October 3rd for the community, called Festival de las Americas. It's a first ever Hispanic heritage event in the city of Fort Meade. The focus will be the arts, culture, and heritage of the Hispanic cultures from North, Central, and South Americas. And with that, we are partnering with Polk County Parks and Recreation and also the Puerto Rican and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Polk County to work with us on that, make sure it's a great success. And with the financial support of the city of Fort Meade, and through these programs, we're also able to have a leadership program. A lot of Chamber of Commerce's have leadership for adults, for business leaders, but ours focuses on the youth, up and coming leaders of tomorrow. The leadership program is actually in its 11th year, and with that we work with Fort Meade High School students. Every student is offered the opportunity to apply. Last year we had 14 students in the program. This year we were amazed we had 23. And tomorrow is actually our kickoff for leadership this year. And with leadership, we have monthly field trips to, like, when we interview them, we find out what are their interests, what are they going to go to school for after high school, and try to gear some of the field trips around their career plans. It's like we're going to Bartow Hospital. We tour the Polk County Courthouse. Polk County Supervisor of Elections is going to be a new one to go to this year. Lakeland Linder Airport. We also, two of the big ones that they love is the Polk County History Center and the Luster African American Heritage Museum project. So with that, all the funding from the events that we make goes to leadership, give back to the community. So, and we thank you and appreciate your support over the years. So,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Welcome any questions you may have.
Okay.
I know we hadn't got to it yet, but I do want to get with you about discuss that, item we talked about the other day about the downtown.
Oh, yes, sir. About
So
having,
you've been thinking about it?
yes, sir. Talking about doing a, I could mention that.
Yes.
Have a, what, someone can come into the chamber, they can get like a card and go to the different businesses, shop local here in Fort Meade. And once they have their card stamped or filled up by so many businesses, they can bring it back to the chamber either once a month or once a quarter, like a gift card drawing for one of the shops here in Fort Meade.
That's awesome.
To help promote business.
That's
And that's an item that, I noticed that the, last time I was mayor, the round table, one of the cities was doing that. To increase the, shopping in the downtown corridor. They would do things, we hadn't worked out the details yet. But, they punched the whole card, some of them had where they had the receipts at each shop. You walk in the shop for an X number of minimum of $1 or whatever, put their receipt, put your name on it, put in the hat. And they would draw it anywhere from $100 to $500 a month. to at a certain store. We would drive the other stores around to be able to go to get their, tickets. That's, okay.
All right, one of the, thank you, Russell, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, may I? Thank you, Russell, for the presentation, I appreciate that. One of the models, or I would like to maybe for the chamber as well as city staff to explore, for potential, potential clients who want to do business or are thinking about doing business in our city. Does the chamber have anything specifically designed to assist those individuals whose intent to set up shop here in our town, to assist them with getting through the process of whether it's permitting or whether it's getting their lights turned on or meeting specific codes? Is there something that possibly our city staff, along with the chamber, where we're working together, that we can share that responsibility to ease the burden of doing business or getting their business up and running in our town? Because there's been a lot of questions, or one person may come in and ask a question and they are told this, another person comes in and they're told something different. So I definitely would like to see for the future that if that is something our chamber, along with city staff, that possibly we could put a little booklet together, put it on your website, because a lot of times if people are shopping of where they like to do business, one of the first places they are going is to a chamber. Yes. And so that would kind of give you a little bit more exposure, as well as, working with city staff to kind of figure out, hey, maybe if we compile this booklet or this information pamphlet, that's one less thing maybe city staff have to worry about because it's accessible through our Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but
It's a great idea.
it's an idea. And I'm just speaking because visiting some other cities that are quite larger than ours, that's one of the models that they utilize. And also through their chambers, they're able to go in and apply for certain discounts or certain, say, fees may be waived if they're coming in through the chamber and utilizing a specific service. There may be some specific fee that perhaps maybe in the future can be waived as a result of you all utilizing your services. So it's something we can hash out. Okay.
With nothing else, a checklist with contact information.
Yes.
For permitting,
Right.
for planning areas, things do contact numbers
Right.
and names.
Yes.
And a checklist of what needs to be done, expected to be done in Fort Meade.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
I did have a question, because I didn't catch the date. You said, this year's celebrating 100 years of the chamber, and you said March what?
It was March 1925, I believe it was March 17th.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Thank you all very much.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Russell.
you.
Thank you. Up next, we have the Help of Fort Meade.
My name is Aisha Wright. I'm the executive director at Help Fort Meade, and alongside I have my board treasurer, Ms. Lisa Williams. I do apologize for that, but we are here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I said before you, not just as Aisha, the director of Help Fort Meade, but as the residents of the city of Fort Meade. For the 24.4% of the poverty level, the people that we represent every single day. Once a month that comes in, that have issues, that have financial issues, that have where they're kicked out of their homes, we stand in that gap to be that hand up. I come on behalf of the 285 households that we assist twice a month with food. I come on behalf of those who financially
financial loss, leaves them unemployed, with no job, homeless, and continuing short-term crisis. In 2024 and 2025, our fiscal year, Help Fort Meade assisted more than 179 clients with rent, mortgage, utilities, and food, totaling over $63,000, with 46% of that going directly to the city of Fort Meade. So for us, on behalf of the 268 clients, new clients, or almost new clients, I would say more than 200, 195 new clients under this new city utility program that we have administered over the last 2 months, totaling over $107,000. We stand here for them. They don't always have a voice, so we stand in that gap for them. And with our partnership with the city of Fort Meade, we're able to do even more by having your logo on our brochures or on our door or wherever it is that we are, saying that we are a partner of the city of Fort Meade. It comes with so much weight. You guys don't understand that. So when we look at not more so of the amount that is given, but more the partnership, to know that you guys support us. Many people say all the time that they don't know who Help Fort Meade is, but that's not true. But we understand that because we understand that people have a pride issue. Nobody wants to know that they have been helped. And so we help them by keeping that secret. We hold confidential files. We are mediators for the community. And so these are things that we do on a daily basis. And by continuing to partner with the city of Fort Meade, we can grow more, we can go further, and we can do more for our community. In the past, the city of Fort Meade has given in-kind utility services to Help Fort Meade for our thrift store. After Mrs. Judd came as a city manager, it became a grant. So we want to continue that, where we use those funds for operation costs. So it went from not only utility payments, but for utility payments and our lease payments for our buildings. And so we would like to continue that, which in turn is far more exceeding the amount that we do receive. But we do thank you for what you do for us.
About 10,000 to 12,000 goes towards our electricity, and the other 3,000 to go towards our rent. Okay. I'd also like to add that Help of Fort Meade is one of those mission essential organizations that's nonprofit that during the time of an actual emergency, we remain open. We'll shut down for a few days to give our workers the time that they need to settle their family or whatnot, but we would be called back in by the state. And during COVID, the governor himself sent a letter saying that anyone that deals with food distribution must open up, and we did. And we continued on with our mission to help people when even the doctor's offices were locking people out. So we're walking through lines of hundreds of cars giving out food. And, you know, we do what we're supposed to do as an agency because we love helping people. That's what we do. You know, normally people that work for nonprofits are people that believe in what they do. I certainly believe in Help Fort Meade. I can't tell you all how thankful I am with this $15,000. Okay. And the reason being is because I write the little grants. I'm not like Amy here. I write the big grants, but I write the grants I can get. And they're all client assistance. It's very hard to keep your doors open to help your clients if you can't do your overhead. And that is where we need our help right now more than anything. So we appreciate it. I want to thank you all personally as the treasurer. And hopefully together we can build this city up. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Yes, I do. Thank you so much for the presentation and for the specifics on your numbers, your data. I was wondering if you were gonna mention have you launched your new project yet?
Well, I was told not to mention that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm just asking if you're not prepared, if you're not prepared to do that, then I understand. But I thought maybe it would have been.
See some major movements coming soon, but we had a major meeting this morning.
Okay.
But at this point, we cannot. We're still working out the
Okay.
details.
Okay. All right.
But yes, you will see us again.
Oh, okay.
So what Katrina is pertaining to is that Help of Fort Meade, of course, you guys know we are currently displaced, but we have purchased land up on Fifth Street between Hungry Howie's and the Spanish or the Mexican restaurant. And so we are in the midst of campaigning, not a full launch. We are currently working with a consulting company to push us in that right direction. For the campaign is running about $1.5 to $3 million. Something that we haven't done before. It's scary to us, but we want to make sure that we're doing it in the correct way because we depend on the community and the community depends on us. And so what would that look like if Help Fort Meade is not here? So we want to do it the right way.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Looking forward to hearing it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and item F05, Dorothy Jean Dream Foundation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Pamela Clark. I am the Executive Director for Dorothy Jean Dreams Initiative. On behalf of myself and my president and his absent, Mr. Ramel Ford, we would like to share with you just a smidgen of Dorothy Jean's Dream. A lot of people are familiar with DJDI through Jared Williams, but I will say this, Jared has little to nothing to do with a lot of what we do. He is, however, our founder and a board member. And because of Jared's passion, he founded Dorothy Jean's Dream Initiative through the passing of his mother, Dorothy Jean, who was a true advocate of education as well as arts, music, and the community. And through this vision with Dorothy Jean's Dream, it was only a reality that we bring it back to Fort Meade. And in bringing it back to Fort Meade, I'm not sure how many people are acclimated with the arts and music, but if you know anything about music, you should know that music is life. Music brings people together. And with our founder's background, and with my amazing singing voice,
Okay.
we decided in sitting together and discussing how Dorothy Jean's Dream can really benefit in regards to what happens in Fort Meade. And it started from something small as in saying, let's provide music lessons and services to our young people that are underprivileged. And what that looked like was anything from music lessons to piano lessons to drumming. However, we found ourselves sitting with these young people as well as adults who begged for services that we had to do something more. So aside from arts and music and cultural awareness, there was a rebirth in an essence of Dorothy Jean's Dream. And what that began to look like was community. We would open our mailbox and we would have letters from people in the community, not just in Fort Meade, but throughout Polk County, once they'd heard of DJDI and one of our subsidiaries, which is the Plaza of Fort Meade. People were beginning to ask for donations. We had students asking for donations. We had local churches asking for donations. We also had the Fort Meade Band and a Woodbury Chorus and Choir. We didn't have anything set in place in regards to what it looked like other than let's do it. Let's help.
So in regards to all of these requests, we decided this was the best way in that moment to support our community, our students, and our schools. So everything that we've done from the inception of 2020, we have done from our pockets. Not just our own pockets, but from our heart. We have been genuine. We have done a lot of anonymous donations. We are not here to say, hey, look at us, look what we're doing, but we've done it. We have supported the Anna Woodbury Choir through donation of not just supporting them in attending their concert, encouraging their kids, but making sure that they had what they need to send at least 50 plus kids who could not afford to go to Busch Gardens through that music program. We have also sponsored individually college students, kids that have graduated from Fort Meade High. They've gone on to continue a four-year education. We get those letters, they ask for help, and we write the check. Again, we are not out in the community saying this is what we do out loud, or some things you can see, but these are things that we take the most pride in. We also have been in partnership with other entities in our community. Just recently, we were able to partner with the Help of Fort Meade in their school giveaway, and we've done the same in the past. We've held school giveaways. We give out backpacks as well as the uniforms and the t-shirts in that matter. When it comes to local churches, outside of being financially giving to people, we've also been able to just go in and support them either through our own music talents. And again, these are things that we do love. When we think about the arts, a lot of times I think people may just picture one thing in particular, but art in itself can be anything expressive, whether it could be spoken word, poetry, drumming, actually drawing. So all of these things, again, this is what we desired in the beginning to develop in regards to supporting our community. Some of you may know we've also held for the 4th year our Soul Music Festival, the Central Florida Soul Music Festival. This is one of our largest events, and what we intended to do with that was make sure that we include local talents. And by including local talents, this will give these young people and or adults the opportunity to share their gifts and their talents with the community as well as the world. That went not from just the main stage, but also young people exposing themselves in photography. Through that event, we've had a lot of people have a lot of contact, because it wasn't just our local artists, but we were able to bring in celebrity artists. And that's what we've done in the last 2 years. And again, if you think about the artists that are on stage, these are celebrity people that have been in the entertainment business for from 10 to 25 to 30 plus years. And again, because we love Fort Meade, we love our community, we love what we stand for, and we're very passionate about it, we have done whatever we needed to do in the past to make sure Fort Meade feels not just like community, but like family. Again, there are a plethora of things that we've done, but if I can too mention, we have had the opportunity to offer the plaza to many entities in our community as well. We've had people come in and held their church services. We have also had town meetings there, and just recently, Matt was able to use our facilities to pin or induct the last 6 new firefighters that came through. When people come to us, there's not really a pause. When I say us, it's really me, because that's me down here. So, but we are family. So when people come in and say, hey, Pam, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we use your facility? Can we borrow a table or a chair? It's not even an inkling as to myself or Ramel and other board members saying, yeah. We can't always provide for people. We have had sponsorships with parents asking us to help sponsor their children for local sports. We've been able to do that, and we've been proud. We may not always be able to give what people are asking, but we are always giving. So this opportunity tonight is one that is new to us because we're not used to asking. So, but here I am tonight asking for the support of not just you all, but for the community, in hopes that DJDI, Dorothy Jean Stream Initiative, can move forward, can be a prominent and eminent and a very fine example for what Fort Meade represents and for what the community deserves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No,
No, okay, thank you.
and still thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're moving on to item H, resolution R 2025-95.
A resolution of the City Commission of Fort Meade, Florida, authorizing a forensic audit of the BSNA utility billing ERP system, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Commissioners, I'm going to cover this item. This item concerns a forensic audit of the BSNA utility billing ERP system. In July, you will recall the commission received a report from the former city manager regarding irregularities in utility billing adjustments. Following that, staff was directed to solicit proposals for a forensic audit to determine the full scope of these adjustments, identify any related issues, and recommend corrective actions. Staff received proposals from qualified auditors and recommends Plant and Moran, PLLC, to perform the audit. The audit will review utility billing adjustments over the relevant period and up to the past 2 years. Assess the impact of unauthorized credits, evaluate potential unlawful conduct, provide findings suitable for law enforcement, referral if needed, and recommend measures to prevent future issues. Staff recommends that the commission authorize Plant and Moran to proceed, provide access to all necessary records, and approve a professional services agreement not to exceed $25,000, funded from the general fund. A detailed report will be provided upon completion, findings and recommendations to strengthen oversight and prevent future irregularities.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
And please forgive my voice as I'm struggling through some allergy issues. I wanted to ask a question. Well, before I ask my question, I want to tell you that as much as hearing the information a few months ago was somewhat shocking, seeing these utility bills and seeing the bills zeroed out on some of these accounts is really beyond me. When many residents struggle to pay their utility bills, so I just want to reiterate, as shocking as it was to hear a few months ago, to see it is also I don't know that I have the right word, a word that is suitable for the chamber, but I am disappointed. What I do want to ask is it possible for the audit agency to go back further than 2 years? We're in 2025, so Mr. Mayor, is more specific, could this start 2021, 2022, or it can only be the past 2 years?
Yes, so that's a good question. I do not have the answer for that as to why it was. What did you say?
Whether it would incur more cost, perhaps.
Gotcha. That's correct. Okay. Because I have concern that it goes back a little further than 2 years, and I understand it's the cost of services will increase. I just wanted to ask if it's possible that we could go back.
That's a good question, good ask. I'd also like to comment too that I'm looking forward to the audit. And I also feel like through my investigation with others, talking to people involved, that we were not given the full story, the entire story for the past instances that were involved with us. So I do look forward to it. If there is any differences, I hope it shows up. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So can we check? If we don't know, can we check to see what the cost would be for an additional year? Or no? Okay.
No, I'm not saying not to check. I'm just, the question I have is, if we are asking her to check for us to go back further, is it proper to make a motion?
I would request, in order to proceed effectively, that the board, give clear direction to staff from the DIF.
Okay, all right.
I would also like to keep in mind too that we are in the middle of budget season and we're broke.
All right, at this point, if no further discussion, any discussion from the public? Any comments?
If I may, Attorney Smith, as a suggestion to the board, you could proceed forward in a manner where you would vote on the current resolution, and you could also give direction to staff separately if you guys wanted to go back further. There's nothing stopping the board from coming back at a later time, from taking action, considering that there may be some budgetary concerns. And so you could do both. You could take action on this and direct staff to go back and get a price so staff could inform you and you could make that decision in light of the budget.
First, see where this leads us to and where it leads us to, and then extend to wherever we need to go. Exactly. I mean, by looking at what we've got on the table now, it might show some direction that we need to go further, or maybe not. Or maybe we can have the bigger problem we thought we did.
Gotcha.
Right,
All right, with that being said, anyone from the public care to come on up, please. State your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Wanda Whitehurst, 850 Southeast Pine Avenue, Fort Lee, Florida. I would think that if anyone on the commission, any 1, 2, 3, or 4 has a concern, I think that concern needs to be addressed. One thing we do know for sure, it can't hurt us to look back and get more information. The more information that we have, I think the more effective decisions that we can make.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Question for you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
No. Does everything need to go? Can I make 2? Does everything need to go inside of one motion?
So you can, it's permissible to go into one motion just because the subject area is connected. So that's just for the public. If the subject area isn't connected, then we would do 2 separate motions, which would be permissible also.
Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution R2025-95, authorizing a forensic audit of the BS&A utility billing system, and that we approach the forensic audit team to find out the costs related to additional years of auditing.
We have a motion on the table.
Second.
And we have a proper second. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? None, motion carries. Moving on to item H2, Resolution R2025-96.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement between the City of Fort Meade and the Griffin Group for State Governmental Relations Consulting and Lobbying Services, providing for an amount not to exceed $60,000 annually, providing for term, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Okay, I do know that we do have a representative of Griffin Group present.
Yes, Commissioners, the Griffin Group lobby contract was discussed at the August 20th special meeting, where the resolution for renewal did not pass by a 2-2 vote. On August the 28th, Commissioner McCutcheon requested that the item be placed on tonight's agenda for further consideration by the full commission, and Ms. Keaton Griffin is here representing her lobby group and can speak to what their benefit is to the City of Fort Meade. I'd like to call up Ms. Griffin.
Hi, I'm Keaton Griffin. I'm not a resident of Fort Meade, but I am a resident of Lakeland, so Lovell County. I would say the benefit of hiring the Griffin Group, we we helped out raise money last year, or get money from the legislature last year at $175,000. That may seem small. I know we asked for 4 million, but when you have years past where we don't have received money and not spent it, the state doesn't see that as a good thing. And so now we have, I know Amy has worked tirelessly on how to spend grants, how to spend that money, making sure that there are plans in place that you're spending that. And I can now turn around and tell our delegation, tell the governor's office, tell the departments that we have plans, we're moving, you can give us more money. It would be great, we need it. And then I know there's the requests this year, which are on the agenda to talk through as well. Just to talk about our lobbying firm. My husband and I, we are a mom and pop shop. It's the two of us. And then we have 2 other lobbyists. We're about to bring on a third. We find people who are family folks that we enjoy spending time with. We try to find people who are honest and hardworking. That is what drives us. Like I said, I'm from Polk County. I represent a few other cities in Polk County, and this is not a job I do because it's easy or fun. It's a job I do because I truly want to make a difference in Polk County. I have no desire to run for office. My dad did that. Family members have done that. I'm okay. But I want to be able to make the difference. So I help people I help the cities like y'all and try to do that and try to help your visions come to fruition through state funding.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Sorry.
The motion we're considering now, is there being change in the plan we voted on in August? Is it the same deal we played it on?
Yes, sir, it's the same deal. Okay. I know that I have seen some information about it online. I'll just say, at no point in time was I ever receiving $180,000. It is a one-year contract for $60,000. This year alone, we've gotten 3 times that, and I'm hoping for even more than that in the following years.
I understand that. I never held that one on you.
Yes, sir.
But I would question the city attorney, is the proper process of reconsideration being called on the groundwork basis?
Yes.
Because I know one of the things considered was if it's a change of a different plan or different agreement.
Yeah, it can be brought back. It didn't pass last time, like Ms. Willer stated, it was on the 2-2, and it's permissible to be brought back.
Well, I will say that I'm grateful for your work that you put in for the city of Fort Meade. We did have local representation in Tallahassee for quite some time, and we all know through Representative Bell. But now that she's no longer there, I do know we do have a couple other representatives there from Polk County. But I appreciate you advocating for us, listening to our goals, our visions, our desires, and recognizing that we are a small town that does not have a large tax base. And as a result, the desires, the goals, and dreams and aspirations that we have for our town, we financially cannot make that happen on our own because we just don't bring in the revenue. So herein lies the reason why we reach out to lobbyists like the Griffin Group to assist us in Tallahassee. They are our voice. They are the one advocating for us. And they have personal relationship with the folk in Tallahassee making the decisions. They don't know me personally from a can of paint. Even if I went up there, I might not get a meeting. I don't know if I would or not. But a person, an individual like the Griffin Group and her team, they go up and they advocate for our city. We have some big goals and visions, but in order for those things to be carried out, there are some housekeeping things that we have to we have got to get the ground settled before we can add. So our foundation currently in our city isn't really settled where we need it to be able to accommodate the growth that we desire. So in order for that to come about, we need a person like the Griffin Group advocating for us in Tallahassee so we can continue to get the funding that we need for those major projects that we as residents, we just financially cannot bear the shoulder and the weight of that. So I want to say thank you. All right.
So, Ms. Griffin, thank you for clarifying that misinformation that was out there on social media about you getting 180,000. I wish more people would pay attention to the actual meeting versus the stuff that circulates, because it's a lot of misinformation that circulates, and we just don't have time to run it all down. With that being said, also, could you also speak to the time frame that we had to work with to secure what we were able to get? We necessarily didn't have a full court press, I like to say, in basketball. We got in the game a little late, and she was able to push us through to get what we got. So could you speak to that?
Yes. So my business has a couple of different periods. There's committee weeks, and that is the lead up. It's where all bills run through their committees, their designated committees. You'll start the process of the appropriations process. So they'll come out with a governor's recommended budget, and they'll come out with the beginning of the budget. Then session starts. Session is where they're on the floor, they're voting on bills to become laws, and at the end of session, the last 2 weeks is a thing called conference. Well, it's usually the last 2 weeks. It lasted about 4 months this year. And that is when they negotiate the budget between the House and the Senate, and that will then be sent to the governor, and he has until July 1st to veto that budget, and he has a line item veto available to him. So last year when we were hired, I want to say a couple weeks before forms were due, rushing the process, not allowing us to really think through what projects would be great, what projects worked for y'all, what projects I felt like would also be successful within the arena that I know and understand. And then we also have a freshman representative, and so it was her first time boots on the ground and her learning about what was happening and how to do it all. So luckily I'm close friends with Representative Kim Hart-Johnson, and happy to help her, and she was happy to help the city of Fort Meade. She wants to see y'all successful. She has told me that a number of times. And so this year, if you proceed with hiring me, and if not, Amy will do a great job, you have plenty of time to get your forms in. We have plenty of time to talk to the delegation. We have plenty of time to work with committees, with committee staff, with committee chair and vice chairs, so that they understand our project, they understand Fort Meade's needs. I always say that any form of community support letters, things like that, are great to give to the governor's office, to committees, so that they really understand what people are seeing and why we're asking for this money.
Thank you for that explanation.
All right. One comment?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I want you to be sure, ma'am, that I'm not, what I'm saying, I'm not offending your company or attacking your company. I have no doubt that you're great and see what you've done. But right now, I've got a budget coming up that's critical. And it's unsustainable. And if we don't make some hard cuts now and address things later, when times are better, I might get a better ear to you.
Yes, sir.
But there's nothing critical of your work so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
But trust me, I'll do the rest of my work until we got our budget passed, with an idea of cutting some tax money out and lower down back to a rollback figure is my goal. Thank you.
Thank you.
I too, I'll just wrap it by thanking you for your services and your work, and also for highlighting in the same breath, thanking you, Assistant City Manager Amy, because one of the things that you stated is that the state doesn't like to see that the funds that you are awarded are not being properly used, and we've had that conversation with past administrations who have garnered some of our support, not managing funds well. So thank you, Amy, for coming in and doing the work that you've done, and I want to thank you for the work that your lobbying group has done as well.
Thank you for those comments. Okay, anyone from the public would care to speak on that? Join us at the podium, Mr. Taylor.
That is me, Matthew Taylor, 301 North Oak. So my background is government contracts. I've been on the board of Florida School Nutrition Association. I go to legislative conferences in both Tallahassee and Washington. There are places to cheap out and there are places not to cheap out. I know that it's very expensive, but without representation in Tallahassee, such as this group, you're floating around with no, no steering. I would just urge that, and I understand the budget, but, this is a profit center. And if you can figure out a way to do it, I would urge, being in the government contract business, that this is something that you need to really, focus on. So,
Well, I assure you, I will look for it. So,
thank you.
as we get into the budget preparation hearings.
Good evening, Sheila. I'm with 425 South Point Avenue.
Good evening.
To hear that we sat on grant money and did nothing with it, that's very disturbing. And now we're hollering budget, but we sat on money. I want to be on record as I stated that. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agreement between the City of Fort Meade and the Griffin Group for state governmental relations consulting and lobbying services for 1-year term, with the option for 2 additional 1-year renewals at a cost not to exceed $60,000 annually, and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement.
Second.
So we have a motion and a proper second. If no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? Motion carries. And we're moving on to item.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to address, Ms. Shawty, one time. I'd like to address your comments, and I respect it. You're absolutely right. There is no consideration for it, a reason for it. And I will do deep research into why it happened. And I'll present it next meeting, or the budget time, let you know, because it covers the last 4 city managers we've had, it's not just been, it just happened now, it hadn't just happened later. There's a lot to blame to go around. Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to item 03, Resolution R 2025-97.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, establishing a code enforcement lien mitigation policy, providing for compliance requirements, settlement agreements, cost recovery, and forgiveness guidelines, and providing for an effective date.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Tonight, the Commission is considering Resolution 2025-97, which establishes a code enforcement lien mitigation policy for the City of Fort Meade. This policy provides a clear, fair, and consistent process for property owners seeking relief from outstanding code enforcement liens while protecting the city's financial interests. It requires that properties be brought into compliance, ensures that the city recovers its administrative and legal costs, and allows for structured lien reductions for forgiveness under defined guidelines. Decisions will be based on recommendations from the code enforcement officer and reviewed by the special magistrate, with all actions fully documented for transparency. Staff recommends adoption of the resolution as presented.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I've been very vocal, will always be vocal, concerning issues regarding code enforcement. Not through opinion, but through fact. There were properties that had excessive amount of liens in certain areas of town versus others. There were properties homes that had liens on them where the homes did not exist anymore. This is when things were going through a magistrate. And so we did go into a lien amnesty program where there were voiced issues with it. I think the program in theory worked with better oversight. It is of my opinion, and I hope you can give me a little bit more clarity, because I don't know how the lien amnesty program that we had in place for 1 year differs from what is being proposed. I am of the opinion that we need better oversight, but we still need to give, I would suggest that we give property owners an opportunity for lien forgiveness and bringing their properties into compliance. I think there was something like $75 million worth of liens. And so my concern is if we return to a process that was flawed, will we continue to have the same issues that we had before? And I want to make sure that what is being proposed is not what we had before, where there were lots of issues. And to speak even more clearly, there were excessive amount of liens on properties on the south side that did not exist on the north side, as we had the information to look at all of them. So I am concerned, and I know I've said a lot. I'm trying to understand the difference between the program that expired and what's being proposed, and how can we make sure that we have a fair program in place regarding code enforcement.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, can I take it and try to kind of go through it a little bit? Is that okay? All right. So you guys passed, well, the commission passed resolution R19-07, which is also in your packet. And that resolution sets forth some parameters on your lien policy. And it gives an Exhibit A, and that Exhibit A states that the property has to be brought into compliance by a certain date, and that's going to be in any lien amnesty program. Applicant must agree to execute a settlement agreement for a conditional waiver and release upon final payment with the city. The applicant receives up to 25% forgiveness for recorded liens on improved property, but if it's unimproved, then it's going to be at 50%. And it also states that they may receive forgiveness for the accumulated fine on either an improved or unimproved property up to its taxable value assigned by the property appraiser. If you go back into section 2 of that, it states the City Commission of Fort Meade hereby declares that the following guidelines shall be enforced with regard to a lien policy as described in Exhibit A. So your policy that you had for your lien amnesty program that was subsequent to the one that they are attempting to implement now, I don't know how much it even aligned with Resolution 19-07. I just don't, to be honest with you, because based on what I've gotten in the past, the amount of the liens that were forgiven would have been possibly I won't speak to whether or not they're aligned to it, you know. But what I would say is that the difference in this policy and the one that was there is it is attempting to put it back with the special magistrate, but it's also attempting to make sure that the parameters that are described in 1907, which is the resolution that you have on the books for it, are going to be followed by the special magistrate. And that does give you some restrictions with the cost of how much you would be reducing. Now, I'll tell the commission this because you already know it, but just to put it back out there, you can always overturn any resolution that you've already had just by passing another resolution that's in conflict with it. So if the particular amounts in the resolution aren't ones that you agree with, like just 25%, and I'll just give an example because these fines can get high. If a fine comes in at $100,000 and you're giving a person 25 to 50% off, they're still going to be left with paying $50,000 or $75,000, which they're likely not going to be able to pay. And I think this commission has said before with some of the cases that we have that you have an interest in making sure that it comes into compliance, right? But that property owners get a fair shot at keeping their property and getting caught up. So you can overturn that, but what was been proposed now is in line with the previous policy. If you want to change that previous policy, and it sounds like you may want to look at doing that, then we can flesh that out and it can be brought back, but you would just need to give the staff some clear direction on how much you would like for that amount to be that can be adjusted by the special magistrate.
And I
Thank you
can
for
add,
those words there. My concern is receiving this today and not being able to go through it with the intent and purpose that we would need to make a good decision. I do agree with having something in place so that it is actually attainable to bring properties back onto the tax roll. However, it has to be consistent and applied across the board. As it stated here in the earlier readings, that each case will be decided individually. We've seen it time and time again. Everybody is not treated with the same level of grace. Thank you. Perfect word. As it pertains to these properties. I ride by a property every single day that has not received liens, and the grass, the tree that's on the property, stands taller than me. I'm 6 feet tall. I stretched it about an inch, but I'm 6 feet tall. And so I don't understand, how is it that this property, which is very visible, you can't even identify where the front door is? And there has never been a sign on that property. I took pictures. I shared those pictures with other individuals. And so, give me 1 second. We're going to give you time to speak. So we have to have consistency and fairness in everything we do. And until I see a policy that is consistent and fair that we can apply, and then it don't show one group or show the developers a different type of grace, then it shows the residents. So, I mean, we're here for the residents. We're not here to make construction workers, developers, rich. So that was a part of the old policy, which is, we specifically said that the residents, a resident that is adjacent to a property should be considered first choice at acquiring the property adjacent to them, right? In order to move forward. And we've had residents that have complained to me that they attempted to purchase the property. They were told one thing, that the property is not buildable. But then now they're being asked to grant variances on the same property that these residents pursued and tried to purchase to enlarge their house. But a developer has this property now and is seeking a variance. So where's the consistency and the fairness in that? It does not exist, and that's the part that I have a problem with. So I would like to suggest that we have a workshop on this and give it more attention before making an actual decision on tonight.
I agree. We did a workshop, plus it's out. And one of the big problems with trying to get back and tweak down the code enforcement plan is the fact that in many cases, and I was involved in code enforcement for long years before I became a commissioner. Property owners would keep putting it off, they kept getting graded more time. If they addressed it in the first place, you got $1,100 or $1,500. Then it goes up to $25,000 or $30,000 because it's put off and they're not enforced. You go have it, whatever plan you have, you got to put some muscle to it.
I agree.
You got to get it, and it's not fair. We've had the last thing, and when we started the MSC program, there were considerations made on that program, and there was a period of time that in order to get the forgiveness, that you had, I believe, I could be wrong on the date, a year, 12 months to bring this property in compliance, or you would put the liens back on, or the fines back on. I'd have to read the full document again. But there was a period of time that had to be brought up into compliance. I know our code enforcement officer has worked with property owners the last couple we've had, and worked with them towards getting to a settlement. They wouldn't go forward without getting a reason. But they need to put, don't kill the code enforcement officer. We haven't had a code enforcement officer active for a number of months now. I know we just hired one, I think. And then before they can get back to work, because probably those getting through. I'd go all over town, all corners of town, and show you what papers are out compliance. Whether or not they've been started, talking to them first, because a good code enforcement officer will talk to them one-on-one, face-to-face. For however either each or treating each other, before they get into the, technical way of the register letters and combinations talk. Then because of that, don't just kick, you go get something, whichever you're talking tonight, or the next week, or whenever. You gotta put some muscle into it. You know, or the people will abuse it again. Thank you.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, I just want to add, you know, as we are instituting these policies, you know, there's a saying that the pot can't call the kettle black. I can tell you 3 properties that the city owns that are out of compliance. And so it's important that as we are enforcing these rules on residents, that the city properties that the city owns should also be in compliance in the same way that we have that expectancy with residents.
So what, a motion can be made then to postpone, deciding on this until after a workshop is had on it. That's what the commission would like to do, and then you could direct staff to organize the workshop for the lien amnesty, lien mitigation program.
Well, I would like, Mr. Mayor, I would like to suggest that we do need to bring properties into compliance, albeit there has been inconsistencies in the way the city has chosen to conduct business in regards to liens and removing liens and reducing liens or eliminating liens and fines in regards to residents and businesses. Hopefully that way of doing things is in the past. For whatever reason, previous administration, whatever, it happened. We're all aware of it. But what I would like to suggest is this. We do give consideration to the resolution tonight, but since we have recently hired code enforcement, I think it would behoove us as a city to send out notification to residents, if we put it on social media, our website, or what have you, to inform them that code enforcement will be effective starting 30 days from this date, 45 days from this date, 60 days from this date, and you're hereby being notified that from this point moving forward, whatever date is chosen, that we will now restart going around assessing properties and talking to people, especially if your properties are not into compliance. You understand what I mean? Because of the fact that we did have the amnesty program, but I think we have to have something on the books because properties, you know, don't look good. But I feel like we, as a city, we owe it to the residents to advise them that from this date moving forward, if your property is not into compliance, then our code enforcement has permission to do his or her job according to what we have in place. And I feel like that's fair for everybody in town. I just feel like that's fair. Because there was a period of time where we didn't know when fines started, we didn't know when they stopped. You see what I mean? We identified that had occurred, that people were being assessed a daily fine and had not been notified, or, you know, it was just willy-nilly. It was really willy-nilly. And so that would be my suggestion.
Okay. And I think that probably the assistant city manager can speak to that in the process of notifying the residents of when code enforcement is going to start. I would say that everything that code enforcement does as far as sending out notices, even the text, the font, and what style and what size it has to be in is set by statute and law. So if the code enforcement officer is arguably complying with the Florida statute, then those notices are supposed to go out to the residents. I have already talked to the special magistrate, to make him aware that we didn't have a code enforcement officer for some time, but that we were, going to be bringing one on. If there was, and I sometimes hate to say some things on the record that may be premature, but I'll say it anyway. If there were any, residents that were accruing fines during the time that the city did not have a code enforcement officer, or there was something that we could not physically go out and check for compliance, then those fines would not stand. And that's already been talked about, so there's a process for that in place too, just for transparency, so that you guys will know that, so residents won't come up and say, you didn't have an officer during this time, why was I being charged? They would just set a hearing, and then the magistrate is aware of that, because the city has already advised them that would be taken into consideration.
Commissioners?
Yes.
I'm Floyd Nelson, 151 San Mountain
Use the
Road.
microphone, Mr. Nelson. It's on.
Floyd Nelson, 151 San Mountain Road. I came down here for a completely different thing, but since you got on this subject, let's talk about it. My father-in-law, some of y'all know him, Mr. Riverpark, passed away. In 2007, he resided over at 507 North Henry, got a lien on his property. Mary Jo did not like it. So whenever it come time to get that lien removed, it was not done. That is still in effect today. Do the math on $250 a day from 07 to right now. It's over $1 million. So whenever we inherit that property, whenever he passed away, the entire family, do you think we're gonna pay 10% for that property? We've inherited a problem that should have went away whenever he said the property's clean. The property's clean right now. You can ride by it right now and look at it. It looks no worse than any other house in that neighborhood. And
so
it's
you guys
still accruing every day, $250 a day, including weekends.
So did you guys not participate in the amnesty program?
His daughter that really has the control over it is in Texas. Makes it kind of hard to do things. They didn't really know about the amnesty program. So, I mean, what do? Myself, I've been trying to get a permit for 7 weeks. I'm still waiting. But yet, a developer can come in here and within 2 weeks start building a house. So how is that fair to me?
It's not.
We're wanting to turn the whole north end into a housing development where there's a house that's been built for a year and 6 months in my neighborhood that's still empty, that is not sold. How is that fair? I'm trying to improve on my property and I can't get a building permit. So you know what that means? I'm probably not going to abide by your stuff. They probably did.
Mr. Jordan, question. What kind of response you get from the building department?
From who?
The building department.
I have not got a response from the building department. I got a couple things where they asked for a couple other things. I'm currently waiting on variance. My property, I built up to 1 foot from the property line, was approved by the board in 2002. So I resubmitted. They said, how'd you get this? How'd you build so close to the property line? I went and got my paperwork submitted, correct?
You submitted it with them?
Yes.
Central Florida?
And I'm still waiting. That was put off last month, and I guess it's put off again this month.
Well, that's something that we need to address that. I thank you for bringing it.
Now, they've been 3 houses built in the last 3 weeks. Complete houses built in 3 weeks at the end of Sand Mountain Road. I'm still waiting on a permit.
The staff, we need to take a look at that, contact Central Florida, and talk to our planning board here also.
My prison will be done tomorrow. You think I spent $2,000 for a blueprint for no reason? I'm building.
Hey, we need to address it, and then we need to address it early. I agree with you 100%. That is not acceptable.
But as far as us trying to grow as a city, that's fine. It's really good that we're trying to grow, we're trying to succeed. If we don't fix Main Street and Highway 17, you're never gonna have business in here. As long as we got old mindset thinking, we're not gonna have business in here. You've got to be willing to accept change.
Great.
You can bring all the citizens you want in here, if there's nothing for them to do, they're not coming here. Look at Bartow. Bartow, look at the additions they've done. We ain't got a hotel. You gotta go to another town to go to a hotel. Perfect place for a hotel on the north side of town. That property is for sale. City had two at one time.
Yep, I remember.
So, that's pretty much all I got to say, but, I would appreciate getting some type of response on my building permit. And like I said, doing the math on $250 a day from 2007, because the code enforcement officer didn't like the person, is a little ridiculous. He's one of those people that has been treated different than others because he was harsh and abrasive around the edges. He was a very rude man. Most of y'all here know.
So what I would say at this time is that's probably a good reason why the commission should be enacting a policy for lien amnesty. And to my knowledge, with those, you can send other individuals on your behalf. So he would be a good person to probably come on behalf of the property owner. You said that they're out of state. So this would be something that would be really good.
Between 4 people is what it is.
Well, only one of you probably needs to come. Yeah. So that works. Only one of you will probably need to come to be able to put in stuff. But yeah, so it'll be good. Yeah, so
But the thing is, we're in our right mind for a house that needs completely rebuilt. And we're paying right now to keep it mowed and keep it cleaned up. He tried. When Mary Jo came out and said, you need to do this, he didn't know all the rules. He didn't know that he could tell Mary Jo, no, you can't come in my backyard. He didn't know that. So he let her back there and she said, well, you got to get rid of this, this, and this. The way code enforcement is, if they can't see it, they can't cite you for it.
no.
If you got a fence up and they can't see it, you don't have to let them on your property. You can tell them no, they're trespassing. If you can visibly see it, that is all you can cite people.
So what I would say is to the board that getting the lien mitigation program in place and making sure it gets put out on the website and getting disseminated would be really good.
Is it, but
I just have one more question. I just want to know why you do.
Hold on a second. I need to regain order in the audience,
Earlier,
please.
I heard you guys say that.
State your name and.
My name is Loretta, 420 South
Thank you.
Brown, last name. Why does the city have property?
are you saying property that's not in compliance, or why does the city own property?
I heard that the city had property and they're also not in compliance. So why isn't it surplus? Why is it available to the residents? Why are we paying tax money to keep this mowed and upkept when we can do other things, or they could be mowing other stuff?
Yes.
I just want to know. It's just a question.
Well, some of the properties that we have buildings on this property. Some of the properties we've gotten donated to the city that we're looking for things to do with. Some of the properties that we just inherited along the way have had a building. It's moved. We own properties, and by charter we're allowed to own property.
That's fine, but I'm saying, like, I know in my neighborhood there's property that the city owns, and they're mowing that, and they have to upkeep that. So we're talking about a budget. That money can go elsewhere, or they can do other things, because the little 20 feet back, you guys supposed to mow that on the property. That's not being mowed. It's only been mowed this week. This entire year on my street, it was mowed this week on one side of the street, and I think it's because the cleanup is this week, so they want to be able to visibly see the stuff that's put
Maybe. But I want to add on to that. It's not just because properties that were inherited. Sometimes you have city managers who are interested in real estate and collecting properties. So, correct. So it's not always has been because properties have been inherited, but also to specifically address why would the city have properties that are not in compliance and to continue sitting on properties that are not in compliance? It's also a great question. Now, I don't have the answer. Maybe Mr. Mayor does. But I wanted to reiterate, I hear your concerns, and it is not just about properties that were inherited. depending on who was leading the city. Okay, okay.
Because I'm one of the ones that were interested in purchasing property, and I was told I couldn't, and a developer came right next door to me and got it. Front and back.
Yeah.
It's not buildable, but a developer, boom, put a closet right next door to me, and trying to put another closet beside me, fire hazard. So,
And thank you for that.
Mr. Brown is online and would like to give some comments, if that's okay now, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Mr. Brown, you should be able to speak.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I just wanted to, try and respond. Thank you very much about the city receiving property. We receive properties through all kinds of actions. Things not going to courthouse staff, donations from private individuals. Sometimes when things fall to foreclosure, banks will approach staff and say, "Hey, do you guys want this?" Now, in terms of how we dispose of property, I would say this: policy is that policy would have a staff evaluation. So we would do an inventory of all the properties that the city actually owns, everything that we actually own, and we probably have a list because one of our ESG requirements actually requires us to log all of our properties. And then we have staff evaluation: is the property of use to the city? And then if the answer to those questions are no, it's obsolete, or we don't have a use for it, then we can put those properties out, out to the public, and they can actually go, put offers in and buy them. And so, but the first thing we do before we put them out to bid or offer, we should evaluate the first and see if we have a use for it. So that's what I want to see. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much.
At this point, we've exhausted the conversation for this evening. I entertain a motion if no further discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution R 2025-97.
We have a motion to adopt. Do we have a proper second? Question?
I do have a question. I have a question and comment, and I know this requires more fleshing out. You stated something about maybe a workshop. You also stated that we could pass a resolution and then come with another resolution that will supersede the resolution that we passed. My concern is passing a resolution where I don't agree with all of the terms. I do believe that our code enforcement officer should be able to start working immediately, identifying properties that are not in compliance, including those that the city owns. I am just concerned, and I hear what you're saying, that we can come behind and pass a new resolution. But
there's nothing stopping the code enforcement from enforcing what's already in the books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they will be able to exercise their job. My reservation is just not being able to go through this with the intent and purpose I would like to see whether or not I actually agree or not. That's my reservation.
Because there are points that I don't agree. I don't agree in the Exhibit A lien policy. Some of this information, this 2550, I have concerns with, and I have concerns with a couple other things inside of this resolution specifically. So I just want to voice, it's not that I'm not in support of passing something, I'm just concerned about some of the points of the resolution.
And Mr. Brown, would you like to respond to that?
Yes. If the commission is not ready to really do something, I agree with the workshop, but we do have a couple of folks who have submitted requests for reductions. Now, if you say tonight that they can wait, we'll tell them to wait. Or if you want to hear them one at a time, we can have them agendized for the city commission and they can act on them individually. But the city attorney and I, we talked about, trying to have uniformity and provide a policy that we can deal with. Now, what you're reading, I heard the old resolution. That resolution was repealed by the amnesty program, according to the city attorney who I spoke with. That was inserted in your package so that you would have a frame of reference that we're not just making up numbers. This has been your previous practice. And so if you're not okay with that, you could give us guidance or directions to take all these to the special magistrate and have them deal with this right now until you set a permanent policy for how you want them to rule on the reduction. And so Madam City Attorney, are you tracking with me?
Yes.
Tracking with what I'm saying?
I am.
Okay.
And I could flesh that out a little bit more. So and I know some of the public said they had a hard time hearing you. So what the city manager is stating at this time is what's in your packet right now is what has been done in the past. And there are individuals right now who are asking city staff to reduce their liens and different stuff that they have on their property. So if it's the commission's will to say, hey, we believe that they can wait a little bit further because we need to kind of flesh this out, then, you can direct us that way and we can have a motion and we can certainly do that. And of course, they can go over to the special magistrate because the code enforcement officer is going to come on. And that's perfectly okay. We just need to know. But either way, there are some individuals right now who have some properties that have requested some type of mitigation. To my knowledge, it's 3 right now. Is that correct, Mr. Brown? So yeah, there are 3. The only thing I would add is that I caution when we were talking about it, and Mr. Brown is right on that, is what you do for one. If you're going to hear cases on a case-by-case situation, what you do for one, you got to do for the other. So acting like that without a policy in place really is not something I would recommend. You can do what you want, but I wouldn't recommend it, and it gets a little bit sticky and tricky, and you're people and you're making decisions on the fly, and that's why this is all open to the public, but then you get judged on how you're sitting here and you're responding when you're just trying to be fluid and in the moment. The other part of that is, and I think to get back to what Commissioner Williams was making his point is, number one, if we go ahead and we move forward with approving this now, it can be repealed. Yes, it can be, but I think the bigger thing is, do we want it to be repealed or do we want to just flesh it out right now? You guys can always have another meeting. Mr. Brown says that all the time. We can just set it for a special meeting and that's fine. We can set it for a workshop and we can come back on it and that's okay. So both of those things can happen. But the other part of it is this is lien mitigation. This is a little bit different from just you get your regular code enforcement fine and violation and you go. This is more so I've accrued a significant amount of liens and this program is fleshed out separately so that the resident have a good opportunity to take care of it because maybe the the magistrate won't actually give you that type of reduction. So they put this in place and they set the policy so that it's there and it's clear and the standard is there. So if you need more time, then that's okay too. It's just that we want you to know in full transparency and for those that have asked that, we want to make sure we're keeping this ball rolling and that you guys would know we would need another meeting set so we can kind of get this addressed and resolved.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if a workshop would resolve the bigger picture. Because at the end of the day, whether we decide on a specific amount, whether it's 25, 50, 75%, if a person comes before us and they have an absorbent amount of liens that have been imposed upon them for non-compliance, whether you reduce that by 25% or 75%, it's still going to be a lot left for them to pay. And so we're still going to be left with, now what do we do? And I think that's how we arrived at this juncture now, is because there had been a lot of inconsistencies of the board, the commission of forgiveness. Yeah. And I warned the commission, if we did not stick to what was written, we would end up here because we're cherry picking who we want to forgive and who we don't want to forgive. And that is how we ended up here. I begged them to stick to what was written It may not be favorable, but at least we're consistent. You will not be able to come back to this board and say, well, you forgave a man $788,000, but here you can't forgive me my $25,000 because maybe I don't live on your side of the track, or you don't know me or anybody in my family. I warned this commission of that. And so that is my stance, is to, it's better to have something written that's uniform, that not only we are aware of, it guides us, but it informs the public. It is clearly written what the expectation is. And so whether it is Boo Boo the Fool or whether it's Jack the Ripper, come up here. It's written. We didn't make this, we didn't pull this out of a hat. We wrote it down, and it is what it is. And that's just my take on it. I want to exercise and extend grace. I do, but at the same time, I think that's how we get into trouble. Because we're saying, yeah, this one deserves to be forgiven this amount, but not this person. Ugh. I just rather it be clear and concise.
So, you know, I haven't heard from everyone, but what I'm hearing is, you know, there's some hesitation on adopting this policy tonight. So why don't we do this? Why don't we come back at the next meeting, if that's October 14th or if that's a special meeting, and we come back with two items. One item, and this is just for consideration, the lien amnesty program. It just sunset back on June 30th, and we do a lien amnesty again. And this, but before we do lien amnesty, we identify all the liens that you have in the city. I'm not so sure that that has been done, you know, has been done. And that way we know.
It has been done.
Oh, it has been done. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Well, then notify everyone that has a lien that there is a lien amnesty program, and let them know that this program will end on a certain date. And then that's one thing. The other thing is that we create a lien mitigation program that empowers the special magistrate and the city code enforcement officers to deal with lien mitigation, reductions, and disposals. That way the council sets the policy, it's clear who's going to do it, and if they want, the council could add some standards or some goals about what they'd like to see. They can put percentages in or not, or delegate that to the special magistrate. And I think that's what we should do. And if I'm hearing the room.
I just want to add, as a part of our responsibility, there are clerical issues inside of liens that are recorded from the city, and we should address. So if you have a list and it has 200 properties that have liens on it, we have to make sure in your Excel spreadsheet or whatever exists, wherever those clerical issues exist, that we identify them and we fix them. And that's, you know, that's as the list exists.
Yeah, and it's just not clerical errors either, Commissioner. There are liens that are invalid or void at the very beginning, and the assessment needs to be made by our attorney that, you know, it's a void lien, and that maybe we can have our own program to dispose of them. So I would say if I could work with, you know, the city attorney, and maybe we can have something back before you, because there are liens that are not valid that you probably have on your books, and they're either expired or whatever. In Florida, we have to renew those liens every so often if we're going to keep them high. But at the same time, if a person is requesting a release, and we can have a legal determination made that the lease is not valid anymore, then we can create, you know, a policy that says that the city attorney can just, provide, you know, guidance and, you know, and direct a release because it's not valid anymore. And we charge a fee for that, her time plus whatever our administrative fee is. Because there's no reason for us to have, you know, 223 liens and half of them, most of them expired, and while they may or may not be in compliance, That's why the code enforcement officer is important, because they need to be making a determination if the property is compliant, and then we work a plan. But I have some ideas. I think that I can bring back something, working with the attorney quickly on this item.
Okay.
Third thing, what do y'all want to do with these 3 people that are waiting?
I would like to be sure that, at least there are no more fines or liens accumulated. Freeze them now as it is to this is worked out assessed, and, proceed with them to come before the board and the magistrate and request a lien reduction. That'll give us time to formulate a plan and work with the city manager and attorney. But I don't want any more, since we've had a downtime of having an active officer, we shouldn't be accumulating any.
Okay, all right, so that's one commissioner. Mayor, we're gonna have to hear from everybody here, and then if the attorney can kind of form us up a motion based on what you just heard.
Okay, so, Commissioner McCutcheon?
Well, first of all, there was a motion. It failed.
It died, it failed.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm okay with, us formulating a lien mitigation policy for the magistrate, special magistrate. And, we come back, with some ideas that staff and the city attorney can bring back to us, in regards to how we address. I do like the temporary lien amnesty. I do like that idea for a set period of time, maybe to the end of the year, to give individuals an opportunity to bring their properties into compliance or to apply for the lien amnesty, and address it that way. I do like that idea. And then start fresh at the beginning of the year, and we will implement a new ordinance in regards to how we assess.
I'm all for giving that, grant amnesty, once it's brought to compliance at a set time frame.
Well, of course.
But I do also want to receive a hard cost, or if there are any involved. Because that's.
So the hard cost, we would recommend that they not be included in this. There's a whole different part of the statute that governs those kinds of things. Yeah. So this is just going to be code enforcement board liens that were imposed by the special magistrate.
Right. And I'm willing to erase them if this is done.
Okay. Going up liens, or, well, the city has a hard cost. We're not talking about that.
Right.
Okay, so to the point of freezing, your position on freezing any accruing liens until, for the 3, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
You are in agreement?
I'm in agreement with that.
Okay, Commissioner Williams.
I'll state that I am in agreement as well. I am also desiring an amnesty program. I don't know that by the end of the year, does that give the city attorney enough time to fix errors on the city's part? So we know the end of the year to give property owners a chance to maybe apply for lien amnesty, but does that give you all enough time to identify the errors?
What should be avoided?
I think it's really based on the applicant being notified and giving them time to come in and make the request. We wouldn't initiate anything. This would be initiated by the property owner. What we would do is notify them based on the best available data. Understand that some of these liens, they are probably invalid, and the property has already transacted, and there's a number of things that probably already happened. And so that's what would be our attempt to clean up what you have there now and start fresh. I would also recommend that when we impose running fines, that they top out, meaning that they don't accrue $250 a day or $500 per day for speed violators for 25 years. It's $50,000 or whatever, and we come up with some standards for that. That way, when they look into public records, in fact, I think the law changes, and you have to state when you claim a lien that's being filed a dollar amount. So, but anyway, long and short, this is something that we can work on quickly. I think that the letter and getting it out to the people that own property with liens on them, I think that's going to be easy. But that can be done by the end of the year. Now, in terms of the to have a longer period of time in which people can come in. You know, I think give them till the 31st of December is not good enough. But anyway, it's something that we can work on. There are, just so you know, you're not the only community in Florida that's doing this, or has a number of liens that they have not, or have identified that have, I call them issues, okay? Because there needs to be a legal assessment of the ones that just definitely are not valid anymore. And then we have to dispose of them some sort of way to get them off our books, because right now we're holding them as bad debt, I guess, or they're being looked at as non-recurring revenue, but they're not, because they're not valid. And so we can't really look at them as a liquid asset. So let me work with the city attorney, and we can at least have a meeting either now between our special meeting and October 14th. We'll have some hard line facts and figures about where we go.
I just want to add, and I agree. You mentioned notifying residents. If I inherited my great grandmother's house and I get a letter that I have $1.3 million in liens on the house, it's so astronomical, and like it's sometimes it's not even processed. You can't even process that. So I would hope that we could do some type of town hall at a church, at vet center, wherever, that can help people, you know, mitigate some of these concerns outside of just sending a letter to notify them, to assist the residents. And that's all I want to add.
Okay. I think that sounds good, Commissioner. Let's see if we can get the motions ready for staff direction, and then we'll talk about education right after that motion. Under city manager's report, if you could.
So, one item that I heard that you guys want to make a motion on is, stopping and halting the fines that are accruing for the 3 property owners that have reached out to the interim city manager. And then I'm assuming as far as the resolution goes that we're not going to take any action on it, and we are going to stick with the motion to postpone until the October 14th meeting.
May I might like to be addressed by comment. I would like to go for everybody that's got liens and fees right now, ongoing, because we have not had a code enforcement officer in place for about 4 months now, or almost a year now, to have checked for compliance. In this Troy's case, it's been clean up forever, but we haven't had nobody to account for it. You know, freeze them off right now until this is in place, and give the special movies the 3 to the top of the table for moving forward.
So I think a
What's fair
motion,
for one is fair for all.
so in that case, a motion can be had to freeze all accruing liens and fines since the city was without a code enforcement officer.
Yes.
Until we have
action is in place.
So we have policy in place. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, if no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, as mentioned.
Wait a minute.
So I think you just gotta make the motion.
Yeah. He gotta make.
And then we'll get a second.
Can I make a statement before you carry on?
Yes.
Hold on. Yeah, so this is the thing. We'll accept this statement at this point. If there is anybody else that care to comment on this particular item? All right, go ahead, Mr. Nelson.
The commission has the authority to clean slate everything that they want to start over. That seems to be the only fair thing that I would see that would be fair, is that we clean slate, start over, starting this day effective whenever our code enforcement officer starts. How many we had over since 2007? High turnover rate. The whole city has a high turnover rate.
Yeah.
So why don't we consider clean slate, starting over, and if you're in violation, you're in violation. You have to fix it. The problem is that we got people in the city that get a sign put in their yard. They don't know what to do with it, so they mow their yard, They take the sign, they throw it in the trash. The next time code enforcement comes around, the grass is taller than that. They don't know any different. They don't know they had to come down here to say it was done.
Well, it's specifically put on the sign. So we can't, that can't, yeah.
How much of that do you think she reads?
Well, if that's your mother-in-law, someone who gives care, provides care, or assists her should have been able to assist her in that regard.
Gotta know about it first. In our case,
Correct.
we knew about
So-
it. Mary Jo did not like the man. She did not follow through with her end. Thank you.
Address the concerns. So, give me 1 second, because I don't want to belabor this any further. And so, there are individuals who have come and satisfied their codes and liens. And so it would be unfair to those people who are doing the right thing, that they had to do the right thing and take care of the things, and then we just go cold turkey and forgive all the ones that did not. Even regarding whether or not they were able to or had the necessary help that they should have had. I think that would not be a prudent thing to do in this regard. But I do agree with freezing until we get a policy that we all agree is in the best interest of all our citizens, and then move forward.
So based on what you guys have told me, I'm going to give you my legal opinion. My legal opinion is you need to postpone this until October 14th, at which time you can flesh out what you need. The interim city manager can be given direction to bring back other options for you guys. You all have the ability to talk to the interim city manager about what you want an amount to be. If a lien is significant, it's over $1 million, you can put a cap on how much they can pay, like up to, you'll pay 10% of your loans, but not to exceed $5,000 or whatever parameters that you guys want to set on that. He can also direct staff to look at other cities surrounding us. I will also say again for the record that I've talked to the special magistrate, and legally we're not going to be able to enforce any code enforcement violation and accruing fine if a person comes up and tells us, oh, I brought my property into compliance last month and we didn't have any way of verifying that. So you can make the motion for the record, but it is really unnecessary because it's not going to be enforced anyhow. And unfortunately, that is, not as fair to people who already have complied, but there's nothing we can really do about that. So I don't think any other motion needs to be had. It just needs to be the understanding to the public that we don't have a code enforcement officer. That's through no fault of anyone's, because there is not a real way to verify whether or not legally by a code enforcement officer, when a person brought it into compliance, we would not be able to enforce that through the special magistrate, and I've already spoken to him about that. So no motion would necessarily be needed for that, because there's been so much discussion on this resolution and what it should look like, how much it should be. I would suggest that the commission probably take some more time and think about what you want in it, and then do a motion to postpone and give the city manager some direction, so we come back at the October meeting, he can present you with something that's more in line with what the commission would have, and the public could speak on it again, and it would be out there for transparency.
Correct. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion that encompasses all the suggestions of the city manager. Okay?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this item until October the 14th, to allow the city manager and the city attorney to address the issue, formulate our comments that's been offered here tonight, and any others that the commissioners may have within the one-on-one conversations with the city attorney and city manager, interim city manager.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second. I think I caught. Can we repeat? I caught most of it. I think in essence we are on the same page.
Yeah, I think we just need a motion to reconsider, a motion to postpone resolution number 2025-97 until the October 14th city commission. That's all we need.
Motion second on the floor. Action needs to be taken.
Yeah, he seconded.
No, he would just say the motion.
No, he says, I stated the motion.
Mm, second.
Great, so I'd like to, can I withdraw my second? Withdraw the motion. What I'm trying to get to, which is why I responded right after saying a second, I moved too quick, was a clarity in motion. The second part of the motion was a little foggy, so I apologize for, is a proper protocol to where?
Yes, I want.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
He hasn't closed out, so it's possible for him to withdraw his second and ask for clarity. And so, since he's done that, I am believing that Commissioner Watts is wanting to postpone Resolution 2025-97 to the October 14th meeting, and he would just need to clarify that in his motion.
To move the 1907.
2025-97.
Okay, that one.
2025-97.
2597, to the October 14th meeting. It's going to go to consider what we've all said. They can consider in the negotiations or talks. And if we want to add anything to them, just relate to them one-on-one for consideration. And
do we have a second? Okay, motion failed. I'll entertain a motion as suggested by city attorney. Can we use the same verbiage, which is postpone resolution R 2025-97 until October 14th meeting? Can I have that motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we postpone resolution 2025-97 to our October 14th meeting and direct staff to review policy and procedure regarding lien mitigation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? None, motion carries. All right, moving on to new business.
We're going to be able to approach y'all one-on-one to add considerations. Thank you.
Absolutely. Moving on to item L, new business, 2025-2026, City of Fort Meade legislative agenda.
Commissioners, you've been provided with a document that lists our legislative agenda for 25-26. It's 4 projects. You've hired the Griffin Group at this meeting, and we're going to put forth these 4 projects. They're a follow-up to one of the projects that was awarded funding of $175,000. The electric grid improvements is one of them listed at $2.5 million. The second is the wastewater lift station upgrades at $1.5 million. The third would be a new fire station funding is at $2 million. And then something that's very, very critical for Fort Meade that the Griffin Group is going to be very helpful with respect to their level of access to the governor will be to get Fort Meade an executive, we're hoping to get Fort Meade an executive order by the governor to designate Fort Meade as a rural area of opportunity designation. And so, and we have Ms. Griffin here that can speak on that, but that's gonna be very critical for us to get loan forgiveness, to get grant match waived so that we could possibly get some rural infrastructure projects off the ground here. So those are what we're presenting to you, and we're gonna have a lot of help with that coming up this legislative session.
Awesome.
Okay, any questions for pertaining to the legislative agenda?
Not at this time.
Okay. If none, are there any comments from the public related to the state legislative agenda for the city of Fort Meade? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the recommendation authorizing the city manager to act on the 2025-26 state legislative agenda.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. As stated, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? None, motion carries. All right, we're gonna move on to, report of the mayor. There's one thing that I would like to, bring before you is, the hair salon adjacent to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catch a Wave, wanted to, allow us to know that, there is a consideration to, part ways with the property, and wanted to see if it was in the appetite of the city to, acquire that property. And so I wanted to bring that before you guys. I also brought that to the attention of interim city manager, and I was supposed to provide contact information. I apologize, Mr. Howard, I forgot to follow through with that. But that is, before us, and so, I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Okay? So Mr. Howard will receive that information for the slaves and then, communicate with them and then get back with us.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Was it for the full property building and all, or just the green area?
The building and all, the entire property, yes. Okay. And with that being said, report of the city manager.
Yeah, I have a couple of things, if it has not been talked about, Mayor. The mayor and I spoke earlier this week, last week, about, holding a town hall meeting. And, I'd like to, move forward with that, and I wanted to, and I just heard Commissioner Williams talk about a town hall meeting, so now I want to talk about town hall in general.
Okay.
And so, what's the pleasure of the council to hold a town hall meeting? A town hall meeting to discuss various issues. Or who's interested, who's not interested, how do y'all want to do it?
What is she,
Town hall meeting.
in particular, what is she?
Yeah, so the interim city manager asked, how does the commission feel on hosting town hall meetings, if they want to do them or if they don't want to do them? Just in general.
In general.
Case by case.
So that's one commissioner said case by case. I'm okay with, covering multiple, subject areas at a single town hall. I'm okay with that. I just wanted to make sure that with the coming projects that we have, that key stakeholders are, informed in enough time so that they could prepare their businesses or their property for said projects that we got, approaching. So the will of the Commissioner McCutcheon?
I'm okay with town hall meetings, but I would like to, as a body, for us to have key points that we're going to address at the town hall meetings, as to inform our residents, as opposed to it being a gripe session. So I would like for it to be an informative, town hall meeting. Not that we're not willing to address issues, but for the better part, the reason why we're hosting is to inform the citizens of what's to come, projects that we're working on, and also, at the same time, of course, entertain questions from the public and concerns.
Commissioner Williams.
I'm smiling and laughing. If you grew up in church, there's business meetings. Sometimes business meetings would get a little rambunctious, which is why I'm laughing. I agree. I think that we should have town halls. Hopefully I won't get it beat up, but I do want to say, in speaking with Ms. Clark, there is the plaza is available as a second option, a larger space to hold town halls. There have been a couple of city town halls in the building. It's a more expansive space that allows more residents to attend and is outfitted for everything that we have here in the chamber regarding sound and video broadcasts and every other thing that we need. I do think town halls are important. I found that some residents are more comfortable coming inside of the building than they are inside City Hall.
One more thing, Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Watts again, go ahead.
These would be advertised, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If 2 or more is required. Right.
All right.
So is there any clarity, I just have one more question. Is there any clarity on individual commissioners having town halls? What's the general consensus on that?
I'm favorable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in favor of that? Okay. So, Mr. Brown, they're in favor of each individual commissioner having their own town hall as well. They're okay with that.
You guys decide you don't want to do this anymore, you don't have to. It's a very fluid kind of situation. But I say town hall, I'll work with the mayor and any commissioner that is interested in doing a town hall, and we'll try to work together and make sure the council is informed and the public is informed. And Commissioner Williams, we can talk at a later date about the code enforcement of the town hall, provided that we get the policy in place.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Staff will be involved, based on what I'm hearing, staff will be involved. I'll coordinate that with the mayor and whoever else is involved in the commission that wants to be involved, so.
Okay. All right, then moving on to report of the city attorney.
I think when I came in, we had 5 cases that were in litigation, and then we had another subsequent case that came about maybe 2 or 3 months ago. We have 3 of our litigation cases that are resolved, and our case that came in also 2 to 3 months ago that has been resolved as well. On the cases that one moment.
Public risk management.
I don't know why I messed that up. I've said it so much, but on the cases that PRM was handling for us, the city doesn't have any personal expenses or exposure that they would have been paying out for those, but most of those have resolved, and we're just waiting on a couple final documents, such as releases and things of that nature. We're still waiting on the surplus and the clerk to finish up with one of the cases that we did have that went before for code enforcement. And I believe we're waiting on the judge to sign the order off on the other 2 for sale, and we should be good to go, so I'll update you on that.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
A public update, thank you. It was brought to my attention, somebody wanted to know, do we have a procedure in place now on handling leaks in the department, or City Hall?
So,
well, it was brought up because it seems like one of the cases just got resolved. The day after, or a couple of days, I think the day after, the assumed settlement, it was all over town. And they were wondering why, or how did they get out when there was supposed to be a period of confidentiality clause in there, and if something happened to that, would the city be liable? They don't know how it got out, but it's all over town, and people wonder why. How did it get out?
So I couldn't speak to how, anything that we did legally or in a settlement would have gotten out. What I will say is there are other parties that are involved. Some of those are not employed by the city. So we don't have very much control over individuals who are not employed with the city. But if you are employed with the city or you're working on behalf of the city.
Because I was led to believe that it was people overheard city employees talking about it in the restaurant.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not aware of that, but what I could do is,
Check on it, please.
I'll get with Mr. Brown on it, and then what we'll do is, you know, we can come up with something where we send out to city employees about making sure the information that they come across, and we did this before, I wanna say maybe 2 months ago or so, but information that they come across, that they become privy to, that is confidential, should remain confidential and should not be talked about with anyone, even if that person is not privy to it and they're with the city as well. So we can get that disseminated again too.
As you know, confidentiality clauses in the contract.
Okay. All right, and I believe there's a staff meeting tomorrow that Mr. Brown has, and he can kind of let them know that as well, and I'll get it out in writing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark, I know it's your section, but I just want the commission to know that I have spoken with the staff about, you know, how we handle business at City Hall, and I'm definitely sensitive to what you just said, Commissioner, and I'll work with the city attorney, and I'll discuss it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being said,
If you're fixing to cut off, I got one more quick question.
go ahead.
On the lands, I was asked to find out about what's the status of the landscape project downtown.
We have
Streetscape.
We actually have a contract on streetscape, and we're gonna get that signed tonight by the mayor. We're then, gonna do a pre-construction meeting, and so that's gonna be, all the stakeholders in the city are gonna be informed about that, so that they can, make whatever arrangements that need to be made with their businesses. So
Okay, now when was it to be held?
we have not set that date yet,
Okay.
so we're gonna set that date and let all the stakeholders
Okay.
on May.
Thank you, ma'am.
Aware.
Okay, future agenda items for commissioners? I'm sorry, were you through presenting?
Yep.
Okay, future agenda items of commissioners, if any?
No.
None. For the good of the order?
I mean, I don't have any future agenda items. Mr. Mayor, are you making room for commission comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to say, first of all, I see, Mr. Island in the back. I want to commend him and his staff for, beautifying and upgrading the Lanier Park. It looks really good. I just needed to know when are the park hours, because every time I go by there, it's chained up. So I just want to know, you know, when people can get in there to utilize it, but it looks really nice. I like the benches and the painting, the upgrading that you've done down there. So thank you very, very much. And I hope the citizens will take advantage of that before daylight saving time ends. And also, one other thing that I wanted to leave for staff, Mr. Brown, as well as for the commission to consider. We had 4 different organizations present tonight. I really only heard one organization make an ask. There was only one, and that was the Help of Fort Meade. And I know we're still in the middle of the budget and all of that, but one of the things I want for us to ponder and consider is, yes, we are in budget. Yes, it doesn't look good. And I understand cuts have to be made. But one of the things that I noticed here, and I want us as a commission and as a city to consider, out of the 4 organizations that presented, of these 4 organizations, one I heard was mission critical, providing a service to citizens that we, the city, ourselves do not provide. Well, we're doing that now with the utility assistance, with the Help of Fort Meade. The others, they do give back to residents and to the city overall. I think we need to decide what it is and how we want to invest into organizations and really consider, is it something we want to support, or would we rather utilize funds to go in a different direction? Because I told it out, it's approximately $60,000 between the four organizations. Right now, I know budget is tight. I don't know if we can afford $60,000. So I think we need to seriously consider this fiscal year. Are we willing to make cuts? If so, where? I do think it's necessary so that we can do as much as we can to put funds where we need it most. Where we need it most. That's my thought process for the different organizations. And I know this board previously approved $25,000 for the 175th celebration. I just don't know if that's feasible at this point, being that we are where we are financially. Could those funds be better served in a different location or for a necessary, say like our fire rescue? I'm not certain, but I think we got to look at it overall and decide where funds should be cut and where we want to lend our support. Take a closer look. But I do think we're going to have to make some cuts, even to those organizations, with the exception of DJDI, because we haven't given them any money. So the other three, Dorothy Jean Dream Initiative. I know we've never given them any funds, but we have helped the Chamber in Main Street. Funds have been issued to them previously. And I know help stated that $15,000 goes towards staff and their overhead for their rental of their space. That is an initiative that I'm willing to continue to support because it's something we don't do directly. But the fact that we are supporting them through the utility assistance, I don't know how that would affect them if we were to cut some of their funding. How would it affect their overhead? But I just wanted us to take a closer look at the funds that have been previously allotted and seeing if it's possible to streamline that. I'm not saying don't give them anything, but maybe reduce it by 5 or 10 grand. That's my thoughts. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so let me clarify with the help. What we're doing with the utility assistance is a service, it's not support. They're literally, we're paying them to orchestrate that for us because we didn't have the manpower to do so.
Okay.
So that's not support at all.
Okay.
That's a service. Commissioner Williams.
Yes. Can you say that again? And I apologize, just because I'm being educated. You said the support that the city gives, sorry, say it one more time. The support that the city gives to help avoid me is?
No, I was speaking on the utility assistance program.
Yes,
They
got it.
entered into a contract.
Yes.
So that they would execute all documentation and all that regarding that. So that particular part is not support. That's a service that we're paying for.
I echo some of the same sentiments of Commissioner McCutcheon. I will say, I think there would be benefit to the city exploring, rather than supporting organizations through, let's say, a grant or of sorts, maybe some type of reimbursement. I think it's important, and I'm speaking, although I'm not heavily involved with Dorothy Jean Stream anymore because of career and other obligations. One of the things that's important is an organization's ability to self-sustain. And that means you have to get out and you got to hit the pavement to ask for support from resources. And I'm telling you, it's exhausting, it's tiring, but the city can't afford to subsidize budgets of organizations. And so I think there's a way for the city to support these organizations, including Dorothy Jean's Dream, that does not create burden. And there is a model inside of reimbursement. For example, Central Florida Tourism, it's really not a grant. They call it a grant, but the assistance that they provide is actually reimbursement. You have to come up with the money. You cannot base your programming, your staffing, your anything dependent upon the support of them. And I think for organizations here, you also can't base your functioning on the support of the city. And so I think we should explore how we label the support that we give, and maybe there's another way to support these organizations that says, hey, everybody got to step it up. And this organization, you know, if you got to do more asks, more research, more grant applications, more whatever. So I wanted to make that a point, but I also want to thank the city and thank you all. This was as the rookie, my first year attending the Florida League of Cities. It was one of the most educational settings that I've been in. I left inspired. I left ready to do more work, building relationships with other commissioners and elected officials in different municipalities who are dealing with some of the same issues that we're dealing with. And so, you know, it felt like, hey, you're not in this alone. Here are some of the things that we're doing to get on the good foot. So thank you to the city support. Jennifer, I have some things for you that I got to get to you. And I just, again, want to thank the city for supporting the commissioners attending. Mr. Mayor, I did want to ask, does the city ever attend commissioners like the National League of Cities or any other subgroups that I've now learned about? I didn't know if Fort Meade has a presence there.
We are members of the Ridge League, which is a regional. We're members of the Florida League of Cities, and we're also members of the National League.
And as far as mine, if I may speak, sir, as far as our members back a long time, we've never had attendee at the National League of Cities. There's been several times that I would put in for budget wasn't there, and I had indoor, I had conflicts.
Okay.
I'd be willing to pay part of it out of my pocket anyway, because I think we should. Because you do learn a lot in the hall. In fact, you learn a lot more in the halls than you do in some of the meetings. Every town has the same problems we got. Somebody's got a bigger budget to handle, but they all have the same thing. You heard it. Yes. Everybody's got it. And how did you deal with it? Yes. What did you do? I know, Sam, you've been to the roundtable, the mayor's roundtable.
Correct.
You learned a lot in there of how what other communities and cities are doing to handle the same issues. It might be on a larger scale than ours, but the same issue in the book. I know, talked to city mayor, city commissioner, city manager of Mulberry last night, FOP meeting. He gave a big spiel on his accomplishments. He was the speaker there of what Mulberry has done. And they've done a lot for the last year or so.
Yeah, they don't get that pushback.
But you learn about these things. I'm going to go have a lunch with them one day to discuss it. But we need to move forward, and the budget time's coming. And I really expect this year's first budget hearing to be real exciting, because we need to look at cuts. I've got a box of my personal research I've done for the data hearings, or budget hearings, and you're welcome to grab it if you want to, because I've got some more coming that I hope to have ready by the budget hearing itself on my proposals, my goals, and what I would like to see, and items I see to be cut. And some things should stay because of the effort they're doing, like help, medical assistance, you know. Things need to be considered. Which ones are best to keep, which we can't afford all of them. Because right now, we've got a budget as of the workshop budget, for a tender budget. It's unsustainable. Now, it may change by the time we get a tentative budget next week or sooner, I hope. So a lot of my numbers might be redropped my spreadsheets. But, I'm gonna keep updating them, so I have something to support what I'm saying, what my goal is. If anybody wants, we'll take it.
And just one more thing, because you mentioned the budget. And thank you all for your patience tonight. The lean program has to be fleshed out. That takes time. I also want to ask, looking forward regarding budget, if there is a more streamlined approach. I attended the county commissioners board meeting yesterday, and things were so streamlined and clear, and what the county commissioners needed to know. It would be great moving forward if some of their practices can be mirrored and how the budget is presented to us. And I can get with you, city manager, or whoever permanent city manager is about that. But it's just very concise. I think everyone in that room, no matter your education level, walked away understanding what was important to retain for retention. So I hope that's something we can look at moving forward. How we handle the budget, how information is presented, what is actually accurate with the budget process. That's it.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I only have one item before we close out, just because it was brought up during your comments. I believe with the 4 organizations that presented, this commission already voted to give out, I believe, some sums of money already. Was it to one of those organizations?
It was for the Main Street.
Right.
What was for Main Street?
So
25,000.
let me, yeah, can you clarify that for me?
That's not true. Yeah, but it's not true.
So I don't think it was for one of those organizations.
Oh, it wasn't Main Street, that was for.
Yeah, so I think there's a misunderstanding about
Historical Society.
where the monies were going. So the commission voted to give out a sum of monies, which is $25,000, but it was not for one of the organizations that came before us tonight. That was for the Historical Society. And that's good to go, but just so everyone is aware, because you are doing budget, if there is something that you feel needs to be undone, then you understand you would have to make a motion to rescind or amend. And that wouldn't be for reconsideration, because that would have been at the same meeting, so that can happen. It would be a motion to amend or a motion to rescind, okay? So, but that was already voted on and earmarked to come out of the budget that's coming up. And I know the budget is not cemented yet, right? You guys are still going through that.
All right, with that being said, we could, where's my paper? Our next regular commission meeting is October 14th, 6 p.m. Is that the correct date?
Yes,
All right.
October 14th.
When's our budget hearing?
The
budget hearing is September 16th.
Okay.
23rd and 2nd.
September 16th and September 20th.
Yeah, September 16th and
September 23rd.
Budget hearing is set for September 16th, and then on the first reading, and then September 23rd on the second and final reading. And then our next regular commission meeting is October 14th. All right. And with that being said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
One question, quickly, the budget hearings, times or time frame?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
All
right.
Thank you.
All right. I entertain a motion to adjourn. So we got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? All right. Consider yourself dismissed.